I was a Christian for more than 25 years or so. Like many people in my youth group, I was under the impression that God was calling me to be a minister. But I was terrified of that because I was terrified of public speaking. I spent about 8 years in the Navy, got out, moved to Austin, worked in the tech industry for a while. When I lost my tech job, I had enough money and enough time to do whatever I wanted. And out of frustration and everything else, it was, you've been a Christian for 25 years, but you've been kind of a crappy Christian for the last 10 or so. And you ran away from this call to the ministry when you were a kid. So let's get right with God. And at that point, it was, I'm going to study the Bible, I'm going to, read, I'm going to pray, I'm going to seek out advice from, other Christians, and hopefully God will direct me wherever He wants me to be. I didn't view things in terms of, I'm a theist and there are atheists out there who object. Instead, I viewed it as, I'm a Christian and there are non-believers out there who need Jesus and need to be converted. The idea that there were people out there who, for rational reasons, rejected the hypothesis that a God exists never really entered my consciousness at all. My roommate at the time was an atheist, but we had agreed to not discuss religion. But I kind of was going to violate that truce because I thought, if I'm going to be the best Christian I can be, then I have to be able to lead people to Christ. And who needs it more than my atheist roommate friend, who I would rather not see in hell? And of course, I felt that I was then going to be held responsible for him going to hell. So I set on a secret mission to find the best arguments to convince him. In order to do that, I actually went out and sought out what atheists were saying about my beliefs in particular. And there were many times where somebody would challenge something that was in the Bible, and I'd say, that's not right. I read the Bible when I was a kid, I read it when I was a teenager, I've read it again in the last year or so as an adult. Either that's not in there or they're misrepresenting it. And invariably, it was in there and it wasn't being misrepresented. There were no good Christian responses, that the apologetics that people offered to try to explain those things really did have logical flaws. And so I spent a great deal of time studying philosophy of science, philosophy in general, logical argument, Aristotelian logic, syllogisms, etc. Clearly there had to be, some argument out there that would hold the God of the Bible true. Eventually it became clear that I couldn't call myself a Christian anymore. I considered a number of other religions just because, then maybe that God's not true, but there might be others. It quickly became evident that I could be doing this for the rest of my life and get nowhere. And I haven't found any kind of God that is useful for anything or meaningful in any way that could really exist or that offers any evidence that it exists.